They are mighty warriors from ancient Japan. Their fates brought them to face great challenges and perils. Their lives are filled with drama, tragedy, and triumphs. Their world mixes real history with fantastical events. They are ronins, they are ninjas, they are monsters, knights and priests. These samurai spirits have gone through so many changes and development throughout the years of the franchise's history. These are their stories. These are the Bushido Tales. In every lore and every good story, there's that particular antithesis of the protagonist, a villain or anti-hero that is the yin to the hero's yang. And in Samurai Shodown, that character is Genjuro Kibagami. While Genjuro seems at first glance like your typical villain or anti-hero to Haomaru, the character's backstory is one that is filled with tragedy. Genjuro was introduced to the Samurai Shodown series with Samurai Shodown 2. When the first game was made, the SNK developers thought of Ukyo Tachibana as Haomaru's rival, basing him to a certain degree on Sasaki Kojiro, the real-life rival of Miyamoto Musashi, who was the basis of Haomaru. But with the second Samurai Shodown in production, the developers took that role and gave it to the newcomer, Genjuro. Whether it is his long red hair, his strong voice, violent moves, or the giant scar on his back, Kibagami Genjuro was made from the beginning with an adult appeal in mind. Kibagami Genjuro's special moves are known for their stunning visual of using Hanafuda Japanese cards. They include the Okazan, the Toha Hoyokujin, and his Sanren Satsurekas, Kiba, Tsuno, and Rin. He would later get access to the violent command grab, the Shizukujin, and his signature super, Gokozan. Genjuro's story begins years before the first game. Young Genjuro grew up in poverty to a mother who worked as a prostitute. Due to the nature of her occupation, Genjuro never knew who his father was. Nevertheless, he loved his mother and vowed to protect her. His young age made him unable to understand his mother's profession. One day, a young Genjuro returns home from playing. He found his mother at the mercy of a drunk client who was staying at their home. Furious with rage, Genjuro grabs the drunken man's sword and stabs him, killing him in the process. Shocked, his mother, who actually had feelings for the dead man, yelled hysterically at the young boy. Genjuro, confused and heartbroken, turned his back on his mother and decided to leave for good. But tragedy struck when his mother grabbed the sword and slashed her son on the back, cursing him forever. Furious with rage, confusion, and sadness, Genjuro Kibagami does the unthinkable and kills his own mother in retaliation. Genjuro's scar would never heal, as it's said to carry the curse of his dead mother. This tragedy shaped a young Genjuro and changed him from a compassionate, loving boy to a murderous, sadistic warrior. After leaving his house to roam the land as a young vagabond, young Genjuro caught the attention of an old swordmaster and hermit, Caffeine Nicotine, who decided to take the lost boy under his tutelage and train him in the arts of sword fighting, hoping that the discipline that comes with sword arts will help the young boy choose the right path in life. Years would go by and Nicotine will bring a new student to his dojo, the brash and young Haomaru, who was recommended by the Tokugawa swordmaster Jubei Yagyu. Genjuro and Haomaru became close friends, who would spend most of their time together, either training or playing. Yet their views on killing are complete opposite. While Haomaru sees killing an opponent as something only done when necessary, Genjuro believed that any enemy he fights that is inferior to him should die. Nicotine was worried about young Genjuro's violent tendencies and hunger for power and kept an eye on him. Few years later, when the demon Amakusa Shiro Tokisada was resurrected, he paid a visit to Haomaru, offering him a place to join the dark forces of Ambrosia, as he sees Haomaru as one of the strongest warriors in Japan. Genjuro, who overheard the confrontation, was mad with rage, as he sees himself better than Haomaru. He instantly steps in and challenges his friend and fellow student to prove who is the strongest. Genjuro quickly gained the upper hand, as Haomaru was holding back fighting his friend. Consumed with rage, Genjuro was set to strike Haomaru with a fatal blow, but luckily, Nicotine intervened at the last moment, saving Haomaru from imminent death. Disappointed in his student, the old caffeine Nicotine kicks Genjuro out of his dojo. Kibagami Genjuro's life changed forever. The forsaken student decides to take a path full of violence. He soon became a hitokiri, an assassin for hire, often preferring challenging jobs that involve killing multiple targets at the same time. In only few years, Genjuro became known as the man who killed 1,000 men. Genjuro lived by a motto that he would recite every time he is about to slaughter someone. It roughly translates to, "I build a nest of beast in my heart. The fang is growling. Kill. Let's go kill. The fang is crying. Kill. Let's go kill. To calm it down, I have no way but to slash men." When Genjuro is not assassinating his targets, he spends most of his days in brothels and gambling dens. Interestingly enough, the sadistic murderer has an unnamed orange pet frog that goes with him almost everywhere. In the year 1786, when the rebel lord of Hinowa, known as Kyogoku Hinowa no Kami Gao, rose to power, Genjuro was approached by a mysterious man who hired him to kill Gao. This mysterious man will turn out to be Sankuro, a gang leader who was hoping to take the name of Lord of Hinowa for himself. Upon Gao's defeat, Sankuro offers Genjuro another job, which the latter refuses. Sankuro tries to bribe Genjuro with information about his unknown father and deceased mother. Enraged by Sankuro's tactics, Genjuro attacks Sankuro and slashes him badly, causing the latter to retreat. It is unknown if Sankuro survives these injuries. It was then during the events of Samurai Shodown 4, where Genjuro met his old friend Haomaru for the first time after several years. The two fought at the Shimabara castle, where the resurrected and evil Aku Amakusa held as a stronghold. The outcome of this battle was never revealed, but it is believed that Haomaru won. After the defeat of Amakusa and Sankuro, Hitokiri Genjuro was hired by Mizuki to be her henchman. While he first accepted, he later decided to switch sides, momentarily. After the defeat of the Ambrosia servant, Genjuro ambushes Haomaru, but right before striking him with a final blow, Haomaru's lover gets in between them, asking Genjuro to postpone the fight as Haomaru is exhausted from his fight with Mizuki. Genjuro agrees and leaves the scene. After the final defeat of Hyuga the Destroyer during the events of Samurai Shodown 64 Warriors Rage, Kibagami Genjuro and Haomaru decided to have their final battle, a duel to the death, years in the making. As the fight raged on, Genjuro gained the upper hand as Haomaru lost the match. But right before Genjuro could give the final blow to his arch enemy, a young boy comes from nowhere and stabs Genjuro in the back. This young kid has been following Genjuro looking for the right moment to avenge his father, an innocent man killed by the assassin. Haomaru tries to help his old friend and enemy, but it was too late, and Genjuro would later die from his wound. Haomaru buries his old friend and from time to time would visit his grave and drink in his honor. Thus ends the story of Kibagami Genjuro and his rivalry with Haomaru. Whether Genjuro's death will be retconned remains to be seen, but for now, Hitokiri Genjuro, a tragic character who went undefeated for years, met his end unexpectedly at the hands of an inexperienced young kid.